Hello, hello. I hope you are well. It is Astrology Sunday here on the channel. And I always start, apparently I always start with putting moisturizer on my hands. I hope you are having a great day. I am so glad you're here. Thank you so much for everything and all your support. I'm so grateful. And thank you so much for being so kind to each other. It's huge. Also, what was that? Could you spell that, please? Thank you so much to our moderators. This is not possible without you, and you have just done heroic work. Just our troll slayers. Tolkien would be proud, seriously. So, thank you. Okay, I was going to try something today, and technically it didn't, no. The technology god said, nah. So, okay. So in that case, what I'm going to do, this is going to be different. Today is Astrology Sunday, so we're not going to be doing tarot today. And I figured I could teach you, or at least help you start learning how to start putting some of this stuff together that I have been showing you. I've been trying to update this and add some more information to it. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But this is free over on Patreon. It's free for everybody. You don't have to be a patron. And just go to my Patreon page and just put in the search, put astrology, and this will pop right up. And you can just download it and print it out. And if you don't know this already, this will make your life a little bit easier. Okay? But what we're actually going to do today, I figured, I've got these charts of these various people. But it finally dawned on me, it's like, you know what? What if, instead of looking at individual people, we do what I did to learn? Because I did not really learn, certainly didn't entirely learn astrology by looking at individual people. I was looking at relationships. So, over at, I'll tilt this down just a little bit. Okay. All right, you can see the computer just a little bit. Probably not clearly, but you can see it. Get my Sharpie here. Okay. Over at, let me open up a tab and move it, because what we're going to try to do, I need to make this just small enough that I can still see your comments. Does this work? And I'm going to go to a website called Astrotheme. All right, because what Astrotheme has is they have a Astrotheme.com. They have a database of like 60,000 people in there. They've got, does it say what they currently have? Having a quick look, I'm not. Yeah, I don't know what they're up to, but they're like 60,000 people. So I figured what we could do is you tell me who you would like to know, do they get along? Do they not get along? It can be politics. It can be famous people. It can be people in history. If I can find them in this database, and keeping in mind that sometimes they get a little screwy about, strangely screwy about how they name certain things and certain people. But, all right, so we're going to try this. I think I just saw a request for Lindsey Graham and Trump. Trump and Trudeau. Those are good options. Let me copy these down. And I'm not on the right page. Okay, here we go. So we're going to look at Trump and Trudeau. We're going to look at, did I see that correctly earlier? Go up here. Lindsey Graham and Trump. Okay, we'll do that. And the more of these we come up with, oh, one I wanted to cover, if I can find them, I wonder if it would be worth it. It was Sarah Palin and Michelle Bachmann. Remember her? They have surprisingly similar charts. I do know that. Okay, so, okay, anybody? Do we scroll down? Trump and Trudeau, Trump and Nancy Pelosi. Okay. Happy Sunday, Trump and Putin. Okay. Kim Jong-un and his sister. Interesting. Oh, thank you, Texicana. You are the one who has wings. You have big white angel wings. Two very scary women. Yeah, they are. They are really scary. I remember looking at their charts. Biden and VP candidates, that's more complicated because some of them aren't in here. I've looked. Trump and President Xi. Oh, let's add that to the list. It doesn't have to be politics, just so you know. It can be famous people, it can be historical figures, it can be okay, so anyway, I've got a few to start with here. Great, awesome, all right. Hopefully this is going to work. All right, and what I'm going to show you, as I'm stirring my chocolate protein shake, what I'm going to show you is how to look at a chart, what to see, but also you are quickly going to see both the advantages of knowing this, but also the limitations. Because there is always a certain amount of when you are born. When you are born, you leave your mother's energy field, all right, and it's just you. And basically, you're like how I describe it, you're like a blank X-ray plate, and suddenly you are unprotected, and you're just right there, and the universe just goes zap, and your energy in this life is forever very much an embodiment of that moment in space and time. That's where the planets were at that moment. That was the energy that was flowing around. Now, the thing about that is that any given moment, you can do good things with it. You can use your power for good, or you can use your power for evil. That's why when sometimes people are having a discussion about fate or free will, the answer is yes. There's both. It is not a strict either or. Okay, and that's one of the things in astrology. The other thing about astrology, that one of the main things I love about astrology, is it says the whole point is that everybody is different. Everybody is supposed to be different, and anyone who's trying to make you conform, and you have to act this way, and you have to be this way, and you have to be interested in these kinds of things, and they're laying down the law. No, that's not. Nope. So. All right, so let's get this party started. Let me go to on I should probably write that down for anybody who's never been there so you have some idea, because you can do this too. It's free. It's completely free. And I'm just gonna reuse this sheet because last week I was explaining how when you go into astrological forums, you will often see people write their name and then 3 astrological symbols. And you're like, what is that? Well, that's the person's sun sign, moon sign, and their ascendant or rising sign, what was coming up over the horizon when they were born. All right, so I'm just gonna, and this is important because this is kind of where we're gonna start too, okay? But I am at a website. Why did they name it this way? I have no idea. I do believe it's a French. I am at astrotheme.com. I do believe it's a French company. They are heavy on the French celebrities, but it's not, they really do have a huge database of readily available charts you can look at, okay? And then down in the left-hand corner, or not left-hand corner, left-hand column, down the left-hand column, you will find it says astrological affinities Celestar. Okay. At astrotheme.com, go down that left-hand column and you will eventually see something that says Astrological Affinities Celestar. Okay? Oh my gosh. Cold Toes just suggested Stephen Miller and Goebbels. I've got to. I mean, how could I not do that? Okay. All right, that's all right. And I'm going to save that because yes, apparently I have a history now of completely erasing all the time stamping and what have you. Okay. So you guys know I just Sharpied my mug. The mug my mom gave me. Oh, please come off. Uh-oh. Hang on. Oh, please come off, please come off. Yes, I know. Your time is very important to me, and I don't mean to waste it. It's just my mom gave me this, and it means a lot to me. So, okay, I think that got most of it. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, there's still just a tiny bit, but I think it'll be okay. All right. So, as I was saying, so you guys know where I am, because you can play along too. So that's there. Now, let's start with, okay, I'm going to go to Celestar. All right, and the thing is, anybody who's seen my other, some of my other, like earlier, before I started doing live streams, anybody who has seen my astrological, some of my astrological videos. I explained how to do this in an earlier video. You basically just come in here and you choose star 1 and star 2. And I know this isn't terribly clear doing it this way. I was trying to find a way to do it a little bit better. But I will be describing things here, so it will be much clearer. All right, and we have, okay, we started with like 30. Oh, we're at 69 watching now. Thank you so much. I'm very surprised. Normally we have several hundred, but I'm amazed you guys are oh no, we're down to 68. I'm amazed you guys are still here. But anyway, all right, so for star 1, let's put in the Donald Trump. Donald Trump, star 1. Come on, computer, work with me here. There, star 1. Okay, so Donald Trump's chart appears over here. And then for star 2, let's start with Joe Biden, actually. All right. I don't think I've ever looked at Trump and Joe Biden, so this will be interesting. Okay, now what this has allowed me to do, and what it allows you to do is very quickly, boom, you've got the 2 charts. All right, and the thing about the Celestar is they will come down here. It'll give you some kind of rating, but we're not going to look at that today. It will give you this thing right here, if you can see it, where it combines the 2 charts. So here you have Donald on the inner circle and Joe Biden on the outer circle, okay? So, but like I said, I'm going to actually go through simple things on here so you can know what to look for. Dave, if someone wanted to do a chart on the virus, what time and place would it start with? If you go and look at my community, I think it's on my community page. I actually did a graphic with a chart that says how to do that, or like when I believe it started. But you can also just Google, because there are various astrologers who have worked on that. So, all right. Okay, so, not that I'm looking at this, okay? Now, you see a whole bunch of, maybe you don't see, you can ignore this, because right now it just looks like, oh my gosh, what is that? There's a tangle of lines, and I don't, if you don't know astrology, it's like, I don't even know where to start. Okay, this is where you start. Remember how I said back here that in astrological forms, you put your name, and then you put the sign your sun is in, the sign your moon is in, and your rising sign, okay? This is Scorpio, this is Cancer, and this is Gemini, all right? And those symbols, if you're not, even if you're still learning, they're here. Down and across the bottom, it's also, this planet, Jupiter, there's a legend here that tells you what's what, and the sign, and it tells you more about that sign, and okay? And it, like, Sagittarius, it's a fire sign, things like that, okay? But we're just going to start with sun, then the moon. And do I have a colored, I thought I had a red, maybe I don't. No, I don't. Well, let's try. I'm trying to figure out how to do this so it's clearer. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to that doesn't want to work with me, so I'm just going to do. All right. Let's see. I'll just use a colored pen instead. How bright is this purple? Eh. All right, red. All right, let's do red and blue. Yeah, we'll do red and blue. Or Red and black. All right, guess who's red? Oh no, red and blue, yes. Republicans, Democrats, in general, and then it'll get more complicated. Okay, but we'll do it that way, all right? Now, red versus blue, yep. All right, now, if you look at charts, this is done properly where, the different houses are different shapes and sizes, but I'm just going to show you this. I'm going to show you just this basic thing here, okay? So this will tell you a lot about these two people. So, Donald Trump, his sun, and it says, if I put my mouse over there, it says up here, his sun is in Gemini. Okay, this is Gemini down here. And it's at 2256. There are 30 degrees in each sign. Okay, so 10, 22. All right, so about right there. I'll make a mark here. Let me just draw this in quickly. We have Donald Trump's sun at 2256. All right, right at that point, it's a lopsided sun sign, symbol of the sun is in Gemini at 2256. Okay, now Joe Biden, his sun is, I'm looking here, it is in Scorpio, which is that symbol right here. Okay, this is the sign of Scorpio, and it is at 2734. So it goes this way. This is 0, and this is 0 of the next sign. So it's 20. There's 25.7. Okay, so 25.7. So about here. Okay. That's Joe Biden's sun at 2734. Okay, so when it comes to the luminaries, the sun and the moon, there's something called an orb. And an orb, O-R-B, an orb is the number of degrees, how close to planets, bodies, what have you, have to be, number of degrees where they still affect each other. Okay, they still affect each other. And we're going over this stuff now. Later on, we'll be able to go through some of these faster. Once you get kind of the basic thing. Autumn, is it a big deal to use the equal house system, which is like this, or the unequal house? Yes, it does make a big difference. I'm just using this. Hello, sweetheart. How are you? How are you, good boy? I'm just using the equal house chart here simply because this is just a basic template, and we're just talking about some things. But generally, I never use an equal house system when I'm looking at a chart. But when I'm teaching, this is the way to do it. Okay, the orb, number of degrees where the planets or what have you will still affect each other. The luminaries, you don't want to look at my computer, you'll get the kitty. Oh, there's the kitty. The luminaries have an orb of about 10 degrees in either direction. The planets, and yes, that includes the planets, it can be asteroids or what. Asteroids tend to be even smaller, but planets are usually more like, I wouldn't go more than like 5 degrees. Okay. Orb. Okay. orb, number of degrees where things will still affect each other. The luminaries, you get about 10 degrees in either direction. Planets, more like 5 degrees in either direction. And beyond that, they're really not affecting each other that much. Obvious, and well, not obviously. The closer, if it's an exact conjunction, like literally something is just, it's not even degrees apart, it's like minutes apart. That has a lot more punch to it. Okay? All right, so we're looking at, this is Donald, down here at 2256. Well, up here, we've got Biden at 27. One of the things when you're looking at charts is you just automatically look at this number 27 and 22. That's not very far apart. For a sun, where it's usually they can influence each other within 10 degrees. So, I mean, if you even if you just ignore the minutes for a second, I mean, that's 5 degrees. It's actually not even if you start adding in the minutes. So these are definitely going to influence each other, but, they're going to influence each other, but how? Is it going to be positive, negative? How will they affect each other? So what you can do is you literally can go, all right, there's 22 right there. All right, so let's say 23, okay? Well, 23 here would be 30 degrees. All right, now follow along, pay attention. 30, 60, 90, 120, 150 would be 2256 right here. Okay, there is 30 degrees is an aspect, but 60 degrees, yeah, how do I put this? A sextile is 60 degrees. A trine is 120 degrees. A square is 90 degrees. And often in charts, you'll just see, it isn't a symbol, it's a line between the two and it's all broken like that. That is called an inconjunct. And I know you've never heard of it. I understand. An inconjunct is 150 degrees. And the best way I can explain an inconjunct is, I joke basically that it's like my love life. 2 ships passing in the night. Does that mean, I have flings? No, I mean literally. I mean, like, I'm on this ship over here, and he's like over on that ship. I think I can kind of barely make him out in the distance, and it's nighttime, and I kind of wave, and he kind of waves, and my ship goes this way, and his goes that way, and that's the relationship. That's inconjunct. They can see each other. They acknowledge each other. But they can't really, they're not really influencing each other. If there's no aspect, which would be called a planet it is possible to have a planet that has no aspects to any other planet. It's called unaspected. If something is unaspected, I'm not even aware of a symbol for unaspected. You just leave it alone. It just sits. For instance, if that sun up there had nothing to do with anything anywhere, it would just be like, it's just kind of there. It would have an effect, but not as much because it's not interfacing with other things. So if you allow for a very reasonable orb, the difference between these, Donald Trump's sun and Joe Biden's sun are in conjunct. They can see each other. Yeah, that is Bristeris. That's another word for it. But I'm worried about being. It's another name for inconjunct, but I'm really afraid of being demonetized if I use that word. I know what it means, but not everybody knows what it means, so let's just say in conjunct. All right, so they see each other, they're aware of each other, their sense of self, because that's what the sun is. The sun is our sense of self. All right, so that is just acknowledgement. All right, so let's see what else we can figure out here. Because after the sun, you start with the moon. All right, okay, so Donald Trump, his moon is Sagittarius. This is simple here, Sagittarius, there. I have a better, the one that's available, this new one, better, the legend's better, it's clearer. Sagittarius. It's up here. And this is at 2112 Sagittarius. All right, so put this somewhere where it'll be stable. A little askew, but stable. All right, Sagittarius goes from here to here. And this is 0 degrees Sagittarius all the way up to 29 degrees 59 minutes of Sagittarius up here, right? This is that. So at 21, so 10, 20, 21, 12. So basically right about there, you've got Donald Trump's moon. And anybody who's just coming in now, in this case, red is Republican and blue is Democrat. And I was not paying attention, I just used the wrong symbol. And I'm going to get out the old tape, so I do not confuse you guys. Hello, sweetheart. How you doing, good kitty? All right, the moon, Donald Trump's moon, is at 2112. Okay, right here. All right, so where is Joe Biden's moon? Oh, Joe Biden's moon is way up here at the very beginning of Taurus, very beginning of Taurus. His moon is at literally 0 degrees 59 minutes. So 1 degree of Taurus, which would be right at the beginning here. All right, so then, remember that it goes, it's going counterclockwise. So 0's here and 29's up there. So 0, so 1 degree of Taurus. And this is the moon. You'd think I would be able to keep the moon in my head, considering just before I started this, I heard the new GOT7 song, Not by the Moon. So you'd think I'd be, focused on the moon, but no. 0 degrees 59 minutes. All right, so let's just look at this. So let's say this is 1 degree. Okay. Well, if we go and you need to go this way. You don't, but you can, yeah, you can. What am I saying? You can. But the closest 1 degree from this moon is right here in Capricorn, at the beginning of Capricorn. Pay no attention to what I just said a minute ago. I was trying to simplify it and I said the wrong thing. But anyway, the closest 1 degree to this moon is right here in Capricorn. All right. So if this is here, then 30 degrees, that's 30 degrees 60, 90, 120. So 120 degrees away would be number 1 here, and that would be, ooh, that's tight. That's 10 degrees, because remember there are basically 30 degrees in every sign. So this is only going to, 0 Capricorn is going to be basically 30 degrees of Sagittarius. So that's tight. That orb is really wide. That's at the far edge. Okay, but I would say it's weak. It's a weak effect, but it's there. It's there. Okay, so the moon is your emotions and your emotional needs. Okay, they are weakly what's called trine. Okay, this is the 120 degrees. Trine, 60 is sextile. All right, I'm actually going to write the word sextile down here for 60 degrees. Please don't say things that are going to get me demonetized. Okay, square is 90 degrees. Okay, and there are other aspects, but this is just the small ones. Okay, the trine, 120 degrees, it's that lazy river I've told you guys, because it's usually in the same, let me show you. Let's look here for a second. Here's Taurus. Joe Biden's, his moon's in Taurus right at the beginning. Well, that's an earth sign. Well, up here, Capricorn, that's an earth sign too. So if, let's say somebody had their moon right there, exactly 120 degrees apart, you can see how, because they're both earth signs, that they would automatically have something in common. There would be an easy understanding between them. It's easy to understand that it's a lot easier to understand an emotional water sign Scorpio. Hello, sweetie. It's a lot easier to understand an emotional water sign Scorpio if you are an emotional water sign Pisces or emotional water sign Cancer. Okay? So that's some understanding. Now, thing is though, it's in the orb, and it's Donald Trump's is over here in Sagittarius, the fire sign, and it's weak. It's a weak interaction, but it's there. So it's not going to be an kind of earth-shattering connection between them, like I'm completely instapat, because if you've got that trine, that 120 degrees where you're going to be dealing with the same type of sign, normally that's comfortable. You get it, you understand it. And there's actually something called a sextile, which is half of this. So it would actually be like right here, because it would be, there's Taurus, 1 degree, there's 30 degrees, there's 60 degrees. 60 degrees is a sextile. It's like a trine, but it energizes. Okay. So far, what do we have? These aren't interacting very much. I mean, let's see, 1 degree here, 1 degree there, and 1 degree up here would be a sextile, 30 degrees, 60 degrees. But from 1 back to, it's almost 23 degrees, it's like 7 degree orb. So they're energizing each other, but it's weak. Okay. If you get into astrology, you will yourself, or you will have friends, she will have people come to you and want to talk about, oh my gosh, I have got such a crush on this person, whoever this is, I've got such a crush. Tell me if we're compatible. Tell me if, you know, we're just meant to be. We're completely just in sync. If you've got all your luminaries at the far edges of your orbs, you'll get along. Potentially, you have potential to get along, but it's not. This is not. They're not really influencing each other much. Do you know what I mean? So let's look at the third thing. Let's look at the rising sign, which is the rising sign, the ascendant right here. This is one of the angles. It's very important. These 4 angles, and generally when they print out a chart, this horizontal right here, it's always there. They always make this horizontal. That stays. This can change, the size of these houses can change, these wedges, but this horizontal stays horizontal. It's always here. Your ascendant is always going to be right on the left-hand side here. Okay, so Trump's ascendant is at the very, 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 very end of Leo. 29:58. I mean, we're talking 2 minutes. 2 minutes before entering, not even 2 degrees, 2 minutes before entering Virgo. Okay? But boy, has he got a lot of Leo energy. Okay, let me write this down. So, right at the very, very end, I'm just going to put ASC, which is how people abbreviate it, and it is at 29 degrees, 58 minutes of Leo. Right there. Okay. We don't have an exact. Do we know his birth time? The thing is, you have to have a birth time to get someone's ascendant, because that's the part that's shifting throughout the day. Because the sky is shifting throughout the day. You know, the sun moves around. Are there temporary positive aspects? Not between people, but definitely when you've got the planets. Human beings are like transits. They're like human. They're like embodied transits. But we'll get into that. Okay. So we do have a birth time. So okay, it says here his ascendant is in Sagittarius. Interesting. Joe Biden's ascendant is at 3 degrees, 11 minutes of Sagittarius. So it's right up here. So it's near his sun. But let's see. 1, 2, 3. Okay, the bigger thing here is, that's 0. And then I just put 3 there. And this should be blue, not red. There we go. Ascendant is at 3 degrees, 11 minutes. Okay, so those are the 3. Those are the 3 biggest things in the chart. Let's have a look. What have we got? All right, so this is really close. That ascendant's really, really close to 0. Well, that ascendant is at 3 degrees. So normally I don't like orbs of more than about 5 degrees, even for angles, because even angles, these ascendant, descendant, midheaven, they will interact with each other. They will affect each other. And if you ever meet somebody who has, their angles are like, their ascendant is within like a degree or 2 of yours, it's amazing how easily you work together, how easily you interact. But anyway. All right, so that's there. So let's go. 30 degrees is here. 60 degrees is here. 120 degrees is here. And it's within just over 3 degrees. So these ascendants, things that aren't planets on your chart can sometimes be more passive. They take in more than they give off, but the Ascendant's a serious exception to that, because this is really how you put yourself out there, it is very much an outward force. And his Ascendant in this. So these are actually 120 degrees away from each other. So even though this is technically still in Leo, it's on the edge of going into Virgo. This is Sagittarius, so it's not quite the same. It's not quite the same sign, but it's close. So they understand. They actually They understand how the other one presents themselves. They appreciate how the other one presents themselves. They're comfortable with how the other person presents themselves. Okay? Now that we have that, we're going to go really slowly here. Let's just have a look. And if I'm looking at a chart blind and it's not already telling me the different aspects, like it's showing the line, this blue line and that red line, and it's good to just know this and be able to look at any chart and be able to say, okay, what I do is I literally just look at the numbers. This from that. Well, that's a 3. So 3, 6, 9, 120, 150. Okay, so Joe Biden's Ascendant, how he presents himself, and his emotions are in conjunct. They're not always going to match up. They acknowledge each other, but and because the sun and the moon have such large orbs, remember it's 10 degrees in either direction, his sun and moon are in conjunct. So there's always going to be this disconnect. He comes across, because the sun is so close to the Ascendant, even though it's behind it, he comes across as with a strong sense of self, with a strong presence, with a how he presents himself is powered, is lit up by his sun. But his emotions, it's kind of there's kind of a disconnect. Okay? Trump was actually born during an eclipse. That's a whole different thing. So his sun was here, almost 23. His moon was directly across at 21 degrees. These are opposite each other. Okay, so let me write some of these in. And I'm going to write them in purple. So hopefully they look a little bit different. All right. Let's just do this. And the symbol for an opposition, it looks like a barbell. All right. This moon to sun, ascendant, what have you, you will see it show up. Like I said, it won't be a solid line. It'll be this dotted, rather the dash kind of line. Okay, that's opposite. And this is in conjunct. Okay, and then this ascendant to this ascendant to this ascendant is a trine, which is that lazy river. The energy flows between the two, just like it can be so comfortable that if you have a whole lot of, energetically speaking, it's like a lazy river. And if you have nothing but, like, if you have like a whole million trines with somebody, you'll be so comfortable around them. Oh my gosh, you will just be so comfortable. You will both become so lazy. That's why the sextile is actually, it's also very positive, but it's a little more energizing. Move. Okay. I just had a question that do opposites cancel each other out? No. Opposites they're a seesaw. Okay? And you go from one to the you go from one to the other you go back and forth. The energy goes back and forth. This is just gently flowing, but this is up down up down. If you are because I've had this in a relationship. Say your sun is over here in Scorpio. Let's say that your significant other has a sun over here in Taurus. All right. Well, that's Scorpio. Directly across is Taurus. Okay. You're absolutely going to recognize each other. They're both fixed signs. They're different elements. Scorpio's a water sign. Taurus is an earth sign. Hello, sweetheart. But they're connected. They definitely have energy, especially if it's very close. If you both have your suns around 14 degrees of each sign, then it's really, really powerful energy going back and forth. The problem is, and you can get through it, it's fine if you become aware of it, because what happens in that case is you have two suns that are opposite each other. And instead of just going about your life on that same level, because they're opposite as you're going through life, what happens is that you can get lifted up by that other person. So your sense of self is lifted up. But in order to do that, the other person has to come down, because there's a seesaw. But then you do it the other way, and you lift them up, and you're willing to let them be in the spotlight and lift them up and let them be important. And then if you are aware of this and you work with it, it can be good. You can put up with your own, you can put up with them being successful and you not being for certain periods of time, and then you allow it to switch, or you make sure, but the thing is, you have to make sure that the other person isn't always down, and that you're not starting to think less of them because you're having more success. Well, you wouldn't be having that success without them. So that can be a problem. So oppositions are there. It's a seesaw, so it can be good, it can be bad. And I'm so sorry I repeat some of these things a lot, but if you have, traditionally in heterosexual relationships, if you have the woman's Venus here and you have the man's Mars here, well, they're opposite each other. These two people start interacting. Where it does this, well, that up and down, we call that flirting. That's that interplay of, don't you look good? Oh no, don't you look good? And that back and forth, and a lot more things about, well, that you can extrapolate from there what that can also mean, but that's what opposition means. And so Trump, he has a sense of self and he has his flighty emotions, but he has one or the other. They don't meld together very well. They don't work together very well. Let me see if I can quickly find, because I made these. I still have these things from when I made ages ago. I wonder if it's still in here. Nope, I think I just passed it. Nope. Because I happen to know that one of these charts, no, it must not be here. Well, if you have, I know that my chart was in here at some point. If you have, yeah, I don't have it handy, sorry. But one of the things in my chart is that I have my sun is in Scorpio, this water sign. Okay, and it's almost 14 degrees of Scorpio. Okay. My moon is actually in Cancer, down here in the water sign of Cancer at about 9 degrees. And I'm going to write that on here because this will help you too when you look at charts. So at, sorry, that should not be shaking. Right here, draw a great big sun, and it's at like 13 degrees 58 minutes or something. I can't remember exactly. 54 minutes, whatever. And down here, I have my moon at 9 degrees 9 minutes or something crazy like that. All right. So my sun is sitting right here, right there. And my moon is sitting down here. It's actually in its own sign. Moon, moon. My moon is in the sign of Cancer, so it's happy there. So 9 degrees here. Let's go 30 degrees, 60, 90, 120. Oh, I made that too high up. It's actually here. So there, and since it's only 9 degrees and that's 14, that's only 5 degrees. And remember, the luminaries, the sun and the moon, they have the big 10-degree orb in either direction. So my sense of self and my emotions are very comfortable with each other. And it's just a weird thing in my chart that my ascendant is actually, let me just draw this quickly so you can, so this, because I'm hoping this will give you a mental image you can take with you. All right, my ascendant and descendant are there, but between my sun and my moon, and I actually have Mars straight at the top. Okay, this is actually, my chart looks more like this, where I've got my ascendant. Remember, this ascendant always sits right there at 9 o'clock when you draw any chart. Okay, my ascendant is here. I've got different planets and different places that reinforce this. Yeah, and I've got 4 planets right here. I've got a great big stellium. All right, so these are at 90 degrees from each other. So I picture it's like a ship. It's like a ship. This is the storm. The storm, things come and they hit here, which overloads this. This is constantly being overloaded by its energy, by things that are transiting past, or people that come along and they affect these points. But for all of the stress and strain and things that can happen in life, I have this inner sense of I'm going to be okay. I have this inner strength of this happy, gentle energy flow between my sense of self and my sense of emotions. It's like a hammock that sits within the ship. So if nothing else, you can take with you this idea. Think of this ship. Think of, you can use my chart as a way to remember how some of these angles work. Because this is square and that's square, and these are opposite. So that's a lot of tension back and forth and back and forth. But this is smooth. This trine, this 120 degrees. All right, so. Okay, so that's their interactions, and I'm almost out of time here, and I didn't get to anybody else, I'm afraid. But we can do more in future, because hopefully you'll know this, and then we'll be able to quickly go through others. Go through other charts quickly. Oh, okay, this is, what do you see? What do you see? You okay? Oh, there was something. Sorry, I had to share. All right. So, Gemini and Scorpio. I'm a Scorpio. My oldest sister is a Gemini. I don't know where, I can't remember off the top of my head where her sun is. But do we get along? Yeah, we get along, but let's look at Gemini. Let's just say Gemini 30 degrees away. Let's just do 30, 60, 90, 120, 150. Again, that in conjunct. So I'm not saying I can't remember exactly where her sun is, but just the signs themselves are in conjunct. So, and we definitely have that aspect sometimes where it's like, yeah, I mean, support her, I love her, whatever I can do, but we don't, it's not like we're best friends, we want to spend all day together kind of thing. We're different. She has different interests, but I love her. So so that is, anyway, so that is the upshot of the basic three things. When you look at any chart, you look at the sun, you look at the moon, you look at the rising sign. And after that, you can start looking at other things. But that's where you start. And then it can be easier to actually look at a chart, and usually the red lines tend to be more stressful, the blue lines tend to be more gentle, more easy. But that is what is going on there. All right, so let me throw this quickly together. Joe Biden, let's change this to, let's change it to Ivanka. Okay, it's loading. Okay. Oh, didn't like that. Hang on. Donald Trump. Sometimes if it doesn't come up, it's just timed out. So I put the other person back in, and it will usually work. The Ivanka thing is twisted. Here we go. All right. This is very different. All right, I'm going to use red for Donald. I'm going to use purple for Ivanka, because she used to be a Democrat, and, well, yeah. All right, let's just do this quickly. You find out somebody is, maybe you don't have access to a chart, but someone says, you want to know about somebody, you want to know how people are going to get along, so you go, okay, now Donald's on the inner circle. So again, he's down here. Let me I can put in the exact same, hello dear. I can put in the exact same sun, which is at 20, there we go. Sun at 22:56. I've got a moon at 21:12, and I've got an ascendant at 29:58. All right, this is Donald Trump. We know that. We did that in the last one. So let's look at Ivanka. Her sun is at 7/11 of Scorpio. So I go up here, and that's 0 Scorpio. So 5, 6, 7. So right there. So her sun is at 7 degrees 11 minutes of Scorpio. Okay, so it's there. Her moon is it's in Sagittarius, It is at 8 degrees 29 minutes of Sagittarius. That's 0 Sagittarius, 5, 6, 7, 8, roughly there. Okay, so her moon is at 8 degrees 29 minutes of Sagittarius, and her ascendant, oh, they don't give an ascendant. They don't have a, she has managed to hide her birth time. Interesting. Okay. Well, in that case, we can't put it in. But let's just take this and see what we get. I'll get the black pen out. All right. These numbers are low. Every sign has a 0 to basically almost 30, basically 30. There's 30 degrees in each sign. But look at this. That's at 7, that's at 8 degrees. Well, even with a 10-degree orb, I mean, 21, 23, basically 29, almost 0. So it's like, okay, well, what about 7 degrees? Okay, so from here to from this number, which is almost 0, the next 0 to 7. Well, this is a sun, so okay, that would be within that 10 degrees on either side, the orb of a luminary. And this, if that's, you call that 0, then up here, that's 8.5 degrees. So if the beginning of Sagittarius is, so that's within, that's also 8 degrees. It's weaker. These are weaker than if it was like right on top of each other, or 2 degrees away or something. But it's still within orb. They're still really going to affect each other. All right. So, but now that we know that, okay, so we can ignore this and we can ignore that because there's too much. It's from here, that's 7 degrees plus another 7, that's 14. No, 21. Yeah, no. But so let's say that's 30. That's 60. That's 90. And I'm going to try so hard to not make this creepy, but I don't know if I can. $30 degrees, 60 degrees, 90 degrees. So that's within orb. So it's 67 degrees. And that's that sextile. It's called a sextile. And no, there's nothing creepy about that. It's just sex as in relationship to the number 6. All right, so that's, and this symbol, it looks like an asterisk. Actually, sometimes I even put in the extra line and make it an asterisk. So these are 60 degrees apart. So it's a positive energy, how he is presenting himself to the world and her sense of self. They energize each other. Okay? That's generally a positive thing. Yeah, I'm getting that pond scum feeling on my third eye, but yeah, it can be a positive thing. All right, and generally, I would personally slightly prefer if the parent was the luminary and the child this is how they present themselves, because if it was reversed like that, then yes, this parent's energy, their sense of self, they're going to illuminate, they're going to just send all that positive energy to how their child presents themselves to the world. This is kind of the other way around. So she's empowering how he presents himself to the world. But you go up here, because 90 degrees would be there, so 98, yeah, that's still within that orb. It's weaker, but it's there. Now a 90 degrees is called a square. And that is what I was showing you earlier on my own chart. This is 60 degrees and this is 90 degrees. All right, the difference between here and here is a square. Remember this in my chart? Right? This is a square, 90 degrees. This is a square, 90 degrees. My Saturn and Mars are square each other. My Mars and, oh gosh, Mercury, Venus, Neptune are square each other. I've got 4 planets right there, but mainly 3. Right? So as planets come up, because this square, for some reason, some people say, oh, it's just always negative. It's not always negative, but it isn't overload. And if you can learn to harness the energy, you'll take off like a rocket ship, because it's a sail. Exactly. That's how I describe it. This is, as planets transit up through here, that sets off this, it's called a T-square, because you've got 2 squares that are focused on one planet. All right, so as this comes up, it sets all this off. So this is the storm. This is that my life can look very stormy, but I have this inner sense of calm because of that trine between my sun and my moon. Underneath, this is my hammock. Okay, so between here, just like it was there, let's do this. It's a square, 90 degrees. It's an overload. It's not comfortable. This is energizing Trump's ascendant. Her sense of self is energizing Trump's ascendant, how he presents himself to the world. And you may think, well, that's not as important as your actual sense of self or your actual emotions or something like that. But oh, Katie's trying to get through. But the reality is that Trump's all about how he presents himself. I mean, that's kind of his thing. And also, you know, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to front. I've got a Gemini. I've got an early Gemini ascendant, and I write and I communicate, and that's kind of my thing. Oh, see you later, Priesteros. Gemini's kind of my thing, and when somebody appreciates my writing or appreciates my communication, or it gets me. It gets me. It's like, oh wow, oh, mine's like a kite. A kite is an actual thing. All right. So that her sun is empowering him. Her moon is very uncomfortable with how he presents himself. All those times when they're up on stage and he goes to kiss her and puts his hand on her hip, or emotionally, this is not comfortable. This is not. It's not the end, the end of everything. If you happen to have this with somebody and everything else is okay, and they're living their life in a positive way, it could even be that eventually something about your emotions and how they're presenting themselves, you can start harnessing that energy to empower. But between a daughter and Trump, it's creepy. Okay? And that is, we don't know what our ascendant is, but we can see this, and that's not pretty. And then there are other things that we start putting in other things in the chart. But just from these basic kinds of things, even without knowing the ascendant, even like normally you'd want to put this ascendant here. You'd literally switch, you'd say, okay, this is Trump's chart, so at 9 o'clock you put the ascendant. And you'll see charts like that, where it'll be, they don't know the birth time of one of the people, so they just they put the one that they have in the middle. So this ascendant will show up at 9 o'clock. So, but you don't even need that. You don't have to spin this thing around to understand what's going on there. You can just take this basic. Houses change. They spin around during the day. This whole thing spins as the Earth. This is the Earth right in the middle. It's kind of hard to see the symbol, but that's actually that's the symbol for the Earth right in the middle. And this ring of constellations it's the same. It's always the same. And this is the base way of doing it, where it starts over here with the ascendant, and then the first house all the way around to the 12th house. So it doesn't. People make all of this really complicated really fast. And it doesn't have to be. You can just look at some basic things. So when you are going, I'm done. But when you are going about, where are these other sheets like this? Because I have a number of them here. I know I did. But none of them are here. No, there's one. So when you are dealing with somebody, or you want to deal with somebody, or you like somebody, or you don't like somebody, but whatever it is, if you can find out, usually in the modern world, it's relatively easy to find out somebody's sun sign. Okay? And you obviously will know yours. So you can say, okay, I am let's say I'm a Gemini. And this person I'm talking to is a Libra. Well, 3, 6, 9, 120, that trine. So those two signs, they're both air signs, and they're going to understand each other. There's going to be basic intellectual thing. They're going to have these things in common. It's going to be comfortable. Okay? And then, but if I'm a Gemini and I'm dealing with a Sagittarius, well, they're opposite. So they both absolutely have in common this sense of learning, communication, seeking new input. But Gemini is going to do it one-on-one. Sagittarius is going to go find the nearest horizon to go look over on the other side. So they're going to understand each other. But if they're going to work together, if they're going to be in a relationship together, they have to understand that their sense of self is going to be on this seesaw, which is fine, as long as you understand it's there, as long as you're willing to deal with that. So you're Gemini, and let's say you've met this, you see this person and they're really attractive. You just think this person is so attractive and is so great, and it's going to be magical. It's going to be magical, and you find out they're a Virgo. Well, let's see here. I'm here, Gemini, 3, 6, 9 square. Kind of like a board game. 3, 6, 9 square. Tension. Gemini is an air sign, flighty, communication, busy, sociable, out in the world. Whereas Virgo is an earth sign. It's the craftsperson. They are meticulous. They are exceptionally good craftspeople. They are also incredibly unsure of themselves because they are perfectionists by nature. This person and this person together in a relationship, if they can understand that what they are they're going to complement each other. They're like if they were working together and it's like, okay, you handle this side of it and I'll handle this side of it. They can absolutely make that work. But if they're going to just jump into a romantic relationship, they're going to drive each other crazy in about 3 seconds flat. All right, so sun, sense of self, moon, your emotions. And if you can find your birth time, somebody else's birth sign, you can see how they're going to present themselves. All right? I hope that wasn't too bad. Okay? And I will print out some I'll print out some of those requests you made. I will print out those charts for next week, so we can zip through them, and you'll be able to see. This will build on what we've known so far, and it gets clearer. But yeah, people do try to make it more complicated, and I hope that was clear enough. But I don't know if my personal ship helps you, but there it is. All right. All right, everybody. There's no test. Absolutely no test. All right. I hope that helped. I hope you guys have a great day. And I will be back tomorrow. Oh, I got the new deck in. I can't wait to show you. It's 70s-tastic. I had no idea. I thought the one might look a little 1970s, but the whole thing, oh, the mustaches and oh, it's great. It is, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. It's the 70s, Oh, look, it's the Eight of Pentacles, and it's like this guy, you can just see him on the commune, with the bushes and anyway. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll show it to you tomorrow. There's no disco, but it's got that earthy 70s thing going on. It's fun. But have a great day. Thank you for being here, and I hope your day goes really, really well. Hang in there. See you tomorrow.